Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope you are having an awesome day. I am actually out on my lunch break, but I want to get another video in because I'm trying to get more consistent with videos on the channel. The platform has grown so much over the last year, and I cannot wait to make a 1-year annual review since getting monetized, with all the numbers, all the views, how much money it made me, and the pros and cons of things that I've done right and things that I've done very wrong. But to have more data for everybody, I want to get more videos out over the next couple of months, so I'm going to have a more consistent upload schedule, starting with today's video. So one take, I'm going to try to knock it out as fast as I can without beating too much around the bush. Today I want to talk about the 5 things that I love about the 2021 Ram 1500 TRX and talk a little bit about my favorite parts of the truck. I now have about 6 months with the TRX, so I like to spend my time with the truck or the car and get to know it, get the ins and outs without rushing into just 5 off the top or quick things that I come up with to get a bunch of early views. The main reason being is because it enables me to actually speak to what it's like to own this truck and speak to the elements of it that I talk about with more detail, having spent time with the truck. So without further ado, let's dive into today's video. But I'm not a huge fan of this backdrop right here. If you've been watching my channel, you've watched some of my other videos, definitely check out some of the other videos on the channel and consider subscribing. It would go a long way. But I like to reward all the viewers with a nice little backdrop, something good to look at. So let's change the background. There we go. Isn't that much better? Got the beautiful Atlantic Ocean and the horizon line in the backdrop, and a beautiful 2021 Ram 1500 TRX that we can now talk about. So hands down, the number one thing on my list of things I love about the TRX is not just the motor, but it's the pairing that it has with the ZF 8-speed. I've talked about it a couple times, but now having owned the truck for 6 months, it's a night and day difference compared to the Gen 2 Raptor that I had. And I'm really hopeful that the Gen 3 Raptor kind of fixes some of those deficiencies that the Gen 2 had, but the TRX hits it out of the park right out of the gates. So the talk of the town is obviously the 702 horsepower, 6.2 liter supercharged V8. It is tucked really far back in the engine bay, surprisingly. And Ram doesn't like people calling it the Hellcat. For some reason, they're trying to make the TRX sound a little bit more unique, but we all know that this is the same Hellcat motor that's been in the Chargers, the Challengers, the Trackhawks, the Durango SRT Hellcat. And so naturally with this motor, I expected a lot of power, and that's what I got. But what I didn't expect is the ZF 8-speed to handle that power so perfectly. The Raptor with even 450 horsepower and 2 extra gears always felt a little bit lazy, whereas the TRX has been on point. I never felt like it was slow in shifting. When you get on it, it downshifts and pulls through the power bands near perfection. But knowing that that power is going to respond really well, it's going to be on notice, and it's going to go through the drivetrain, specifically the transmission, with the amount of precision that the ZF 8-speed works with this motor in this truck. Hands down my number one favorite thing. Since performance vehicles aren't getting manual transmissions anymore, I think one of the biggest things that I always look for is a good transmission, and the TRX delivers that without the slightest bit of regret or remorse. I think the whole transmission and engine pairing and the whole powertrain, 100% on point. Number 2 on my list of things about the TRX is the suspension and the ride quality. For an off-road oriented truck, this thing has such amazing street manners. I won't crawl under the truck, there's a ton of videos that kind of capture that, but it is a 5-link rear, and I think this is where the biggest advantage is for the TRX. This truck does come equipped with the Blackhawk E2 Bilstein active terrain management shocks, and I know you can read that out of the brochure. But after 6 months of ownership, I have to say that the ride quality on this truck is superior and above and beyond any other truck that I've ever owned. Surprisingly, it's very soft. For a heavy truck, the suspension feels nice and floaty, it's very luxurious. As well as off-road, it can handle anything. And so long highway trips, long road trips, this truck handles the pavement really, really well. And that's one of the things that sometimes gets lost in heavier and more capable oriented trucks. But the TRX gives you best of both worlds. Number 3 on my list of things I love about the TRX is without a doubt the interior. The interior quality on this thing is absolutely insane. The fit, finish, and material choice is truly exquisite, and honestly second to none. I think the interior on the 2021 F-150, from experience, I've sat in the truck, I've driven a little bit, not the Raptor, but a Platinum, and I still think that the TRX is better. And obviously GM is like completely behind. The new 2022 variants have the new Yukon and Tahoe interiors, but I still think that they're lagging behind the TRX. I mean, just look at it. You have soft touch materials, you have contrast stitching with Alcantara, with this nice brushed metal, with some nice carbon fiber inserts matched with some really, really nice color plastics, coupled with a different shade and feel of brushed metal with these red insert Harman Kardon speaker grills, blended with a little bit more brushed metal and hard plastic where you'd expect it. And that's just the door panel. Take that interior, all 6 different kind of pieces that they have, and they've splattered it all throughout this interior to truly make it one of the most comfortable and luxurious interiors in the class. And surprisingly, the seats have been wearing really, really well. There's no premature wear. The leather is actually really on point. You can see like there's no stretch marks or anything after 6 months, and about 3,000 miles, which the C8 Corvette's already starting to wear. And I have to say, not having had it before, I always thought it was gimmicky, but now that I have it, these little storage cubbies are fantastic. They actually come out so you can drain them if you wanted to put ice and drinks in here, but they also act as a really, really good just under floor storage, so you have a little bit more room for the passengers back here. And naturally, all that variation in high-end materials carries out into the rear door, so they didn't just get cheap in the back, they made sure that the quality and the finesse is across the entire truck, front and back. This video is already getting a little longer than I want, but number 4 on the list is value. These trucks hold tremendous value, and right now, 6 months after purchasing it at MSRP, I can sell this truck for a $4,000 to $5,000 premium over what I paid for it, which is incredible to think about. And I know the rest of the car market is absolutely crazy right now. We have Tacomas and Tundras in our area going for over MSRP. But like the Raptor, this truck offers all this interior luxury, off-road, on-road performance, drive capability, and practicality. I genuinely don't think the value on this truck is going to go down that much. If anything, in a couple of years, mark my words, this truck's actually going to start increasing in value. It'll kind of bottom out at some point, and then it'll start coming back up probably around 2023, 2024, when the Hellcat motor kind of goes away. And if you don't believe me, look at the Trackhawks. Those things are actually starting to sell for MSRP or a little bit more for 2018 model years, and they were actually tracking up before the pandemic hit. So yes, $92,000 for this truck. I have a video for the full spec, my insurance and payment and all that stuff if you want to go check that out. I won't rehash out those details, but for $92,000, this truck actually holds its value much better than most cars in the marketplace will, which actually end up making it a really good value. And number 5 on my list of things that I love about this truck is the actual customizability. It's not as customizable as I would like, but I don't think any vehicle is ever going to offer that level of customizability for the automotive enthusiast. The Raptor had modes, but you couldn't really customize any of those modes, so you were stuck with what they gave you. Whereas what I love about the TRX is the performance pages. I've never had a vehicle that's had an active dyno, and I know some of this stuff is gimmicky, but if you go through a lot of this setup, it gives you all your G-forces, it gives you gauges that are going to give you complete readouts of your coolant temperature, oil pressure, trans temp, and a couple of other things. And if you think this isn't enough, there's a second page with even more gauges that give you your voltage, boost pressure, intake temps. Add in timers that capture some of the crazy performance metrics. I mean, take a look at that. 3.9 seconds 0 to 60 is my best time in an over 6,000 pound truck. And then you have your dashboard, which has kind of like that old school pod style look, which I'm a fan of. I kind of like this layout and screen. And you can use the snapshot feature to actually capture the metrics in real time if you want to save them to the memory to look back at later. And your dyno, the chart's a little gimmicky, but they actually have a digital readout that gives you your torque, power, and boost pressure in real time. And I guess while we're in here, a little bit more about the interior. The truck's actually running right now. I have a SLP loudmouth swapped exhaust, and the cabin is so well insulated. There is no drone, no outside noise that really gets in here, which again speaks to the fit and finish of this interior. So just like that, that is the 5 things that I love about the Ram TRX after having owned it for 6 months, spending some time with it, and getting to learn the ins and outs of this truck. Yes, the windows are tinted beyond what the legal spec is, but again, that's how I like to do it, so that's how I'm going to run with it. But to recap out, this is the ultimate off-road truck packed with the ultimate luxury daily driver, coupled with the practicality of a truck with the street performance of a modern day muscle car. Truly one of the best automotive bargains of this generation. And what makes it even more crazy is it can do all of this stuff in the winter. So when the asphalt gets cold, there is snow on the ground. The Lamborghinis, the Ferraris, the C8 Corvettes, the Mustangs, the Challengers, they're all sitting in a garage, but you can have tremendous amounts of fun with this thing year-round, any terrain, any weather. And for a true automotive enthusiast and somebody that had a Raptor, this truck gives you something that you were always deprived of, which is the sweet sound of a supercharger whine in the front with a burbly V8 in the back. So just like that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you have not already, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. It helps this channel grow and lets more people find the channel. And just like that, I am out. And as always, until the very next video, I look forward to seeing all of you in the comment section below.